Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a supercritical emergency drill, one that plans for something most of us just don't want to think about, a total communications blackout. We're going to meet the folks, the volunteers, who literally become our only lifeline when the grid goes down. Yeah, this is the playbook for chaos.
So let me ask you something. How do you call for help when your phone and the internet just stop working? I mean, really think about it. No cell service, no Wi-Fi, no landline. It's a scenario that feels almost impossible in our always-on world, but it's the exact problem we're diving into today.
And the setup for this drill? It's chillingly realistic. A massive storm slams the region. The power grid completely fails. And all those communication networks we depend on, the ones in our pockets and our homes, they're just dead. You're totally, completely cut off.
So, in that deafening silence, who actually steps up? Well, this is the exact moment a really dedicated group of volunteers has been training for. You know, they aren't just the backup plan. They're the backup to the backup. And just look at the level of detail they put into this. This isn't some vague what-if scenario. No way. They've designed a perfect storm. We're talking high winds, major flooding, even a tornado. Every single element is there for a reason, to really stress test their network and see if it can hold up in a true worst-case disaster.
So, who are these people who answer the call when you literally can't make one? Okay, let's meet them. Let's talk about the Volunteer Radio Network.
So, these folks are licensed amateur radio operators. You might know them as hams, and they volunteer their own time, their skills, and even their own personal equipment. Their mission is pretty simple, but it is absolutely vital to be that solid, reliable communications link between communities and emergency officials when every other system has totally failed.
And you know, this isn't just a few hobbyists tinkering in their basements. This is a highly organized hub-and-spoke network. As you can see, each region has its own designated contact person. That means information can flow super efficiently from the local level right on up the chain. It's a structure that's built from the ground up for resilience.
Okay, so practicing for a total catastrophe like this, you better believe it requires a playbook. Theirs is called a Simulated Emergency Test, or SET for short, and it is a seriously structured exercise designed to push every single part of their system to its absolute limit.
And get this, the drill builds up tension over a full 24 hours. It all kicks off on Friday afternoon with the first inject. That's basically a simulated weather update. You can think of these injects as chapters in a story of a developing crisis. They force the teams to react in real time as the storm gets worse all through the live test on Saturday morning.
The whole point of this entire exercise really boils down to 4 critical questions. 1, can they react to new unfolding information? 2, can they accurately report what's actually happening on the ground? 3, can they transmit that data, messages and forms, without any errors? And, this is the big one, 4, can they do all of it completely offline? Proving this network can truly stand on its own 2 feet.
But this brings up a really fascinating and, frankly, a really critical question. I mean, they're in the middle of simulating a disaster. They're using emergency frequencies. They're using emergency procedures. So, what happens if a real emergency strikes right in the middle of their test?
Well, the solution is just brilliantly simple and incredibly effective. Any operator who becomes aware of a real-world emergency gets on the radio and transmits this one code word, no duff. They say it 3 times, no duff, no duff, no duff, and that signals an immediate, total stop to the entire exercise. Everything just halts, and the network instantly pivots to a live, real-world response, just like that.
All right, now let's get into the tech a little bit. How are they actually sending messages when the internet is completely down? This, my friends, is where the incredible resilience of old-school radio really gets to shine.
Okay, so they mainly use 2 different methods. The first one is just voice. It's exactly what it sounds like. People talking over the radio. Think of it like a big, powerful walkie-talkie system for immediate tactical chats. The second method is called WinLink, and this is cool. It's basically email, but sent over radio waves. Yeah, it's a bit slower, but it's perfect for sending really detailed, error-free digital messages and all those official forms.
So where are all these messages and forms actually going? Well, for the drill, they're being sent to a Simulated Provincial Emergency Operations Center, or PEOC. In a real disaster, the PEOC is the nerve center. It's the headquarters that coordinates the entire response for the province. So for this test, it's the ultimate destination for all their reports. And listen, they're not just sending little "how's it going" messages. They are practicing with the real deal, official, standardized emergency forms. We're talking about crucial documents like situation reports, which give leaders a snapshot of what's happening, and health and welfare forms, which are used to track and help people who are affected by the disaster.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's really important to understand the why behind all this meticulous planning. It's not about flashy tech or trying to be heroes. It all comes down to one simple thing. The message has to get through.
And this quote, which comes directly from their own planning documents, says it all. We are not first responders. We are just providing communications. I mean, how clear is that? These volunteers know their role perfectly. They don't run into burning buildings. They're not paramedics. They have one very specific, very humble, and yet absolutely critical job: to be the voice in the silence. They provide the communications that allow the actual first responders to do their jobs safely and effectively.
And the mission doesn't just stop when the test is over. Not at all. A debrief is held almost immediately after. They go back and analyze every message, every delay, every single success, and every failure. The whole goal is constant improvement, making sure that when the real event happens, they are as ready as they could possibly be.
We live our lives just assuming we'll always be connected. It's easy to take for granted, but this whole thing really makes you stop and think. When all the screens go dark and all the lines go dead, who's ready to be your voice?